I've been lucky enough to not face that many welfare problems in my time at university, but that doesn't mean that people don't. And I'm absolutely strong in my belief that welfare issues are not related to people's courses and education. And I think that welfare issues can happen off campus, and then it does come onto campus and affects people's work. But I think we need to put much more resources, a full-time dedicated welfare officer, into combating welfare issues before they occur, not just simply mitigating their effects once they've happened.
Okay, in the current structure, one of the problems that's been brought up quite a lot is the idea that officers have too much of a workload, and the spreading of the welfare workload over 3 officers rather than 1 would actually help officers engage more with students and improve participation within the union. Do you not think that might come into play with the new structure?
Well, I think it's absolutely true that more people will have more responsibility for welfare issues. That's what the proposals are. I don't think that's going to help. I think it is a case of too many cooks spoil the broth. Quite frankly, if there were 4 people involved in the union's response to the heating in halls, I think that's going to cause absolute havoc when it comes to negotiating with the university. You know, our union should be representing us within the university, and I feel like if we're not really clear in representing students, I think that we're going to get we're not going to get a good deal, frankly. We're going to be fobbed off. And I think that having one person who is responsible for our response as students within the university is to the benefit of everybody. Now, in terms of the workloads, there's no suggestion that voting no is voting against change. Actually, rather, voting no is voting for better change. So my ideal structure is a structure that absolutely acknowledges the fact that the workloads have increased and that some of the officers might not be coping as well as they'd like to. So we need to get an extra officer in, a full-time officer, but we also need to make sure postgrads are getting a fair deal in our new structure. I'm not quite sure whether the proposals do that. And I think that welfare needs to remain at the heart of our students' union. And for me, the only way that's going to happen is if we have a full-time dedicated welfare officer. And we're seeing all the time other students' unions are having big wins for students. They're achieving things on and off the university campuses, and there is a welfare officer taking responsibility and the credit for a lot of what's happening in the student movement at other institutions. I don't want to be in a situation where that's not happening here at Brunel. I'm George, I'm voting no, and you should too.